Welcome to Skyler Jarvis Media.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Skyler Jarvis.
What's up, everybody? This is the Skyler Jarvis Show. I'm your host, Skyler, and today I've got a very, very, very special guest in the building. Say hello, everybody, to Chase Shepard.
Hello. Greetings.
So, Chase, where were you born?
I was born in the heart of Florida Hospital.
And
In 2000.
2000?
Yup.
Yours is July 29th, right?
Yes, sir.
And one thing I have to ask you, were you born blind?
I was shaken at 3 months old by my evil step-grandmother.
By your evil step-grandmother.
Yes.
And that made you blind?
It did. It almost killed me.
So, what's the actual diagnosis of what made you blind?
Shaken baby syndrome.
Shaken baby syndrome.
Yup.
So, what was it like growing up blind?
From what I can remember, kind of growing up was, it's like it's like my right eye compensates for both my left and my right.
Ah, okay.
And it's like put a sheet over your left eye or try closing your eyes and walking around. With a little bit of vision, it lets me use like a cane. I had somebody mistake me for deaf and ask me would I like to learn sign language. And when I was 3 or 4, couldn't really, see the steps or thought they were steps. And, I was on top of an addition to my dad's house, which is like part of the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell.
Oh.
And landed at least 30 to 40 feet down, not a speck of dirt on me. And other than getting stitches in my left eye from roughhousing, and I've made some really friendly doctors. I was in a school called Callaway Valley, and I got to meet this person named Donna West. I've met some really interesting people. And then I transferred houses and went to a public school, which those sucked.
Yeah.
But I met a friend of mine named Logan Ray in 2000 and I want to say 11 or 10. I had to repeat second grade because of something my biological mother did when she was a drug addict and she didn't take care of none of us kids right. So I ended up repeating second grade because of, her kidnapping us kids and going to Florida and hiding from the police. So that's how I repeated second grade. And, being in public school, I've met some interesting people. I've never really had a bad experience except for the fact that I was supposed to be on a bus route to school.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was on a bus route to school, I was on a completely different bus than usual.
Oh. Were you on the learning disability bus or something?
No, I was on a different activity bus.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And they transferred me to the school. There wasn't a teacher's aide to help me. The principal lost me at school. I don't know how the hell you can lose a blind person with a white cane.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it, you see somebody with a white cane. Oh well,
Oh yeah, I just forgot about you.
Principal Todd Bradley. Called my dad, freaked him out. So he came home I came home one day. I had a talking calculator in my possession that I got secondhand. And I was doing calculations with it, playing around with it. And I was also listening to The Lightning Thief when he came in
Percy
my bedroom
Jackson.
at 8:32 p.m. and said, "You're transferring schools." I said, "Where am I going to?" He says, "You'll like it. It's called Governor Moorhead. It's the same school that you went to."
Oh, yeah.
Which, that's how me and you met, Skyler, in 2012. In 2012. So
yeah,
I went to one of his ex-girlfriend's house and stayed there for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
After I had like 9 teachers crying over me, and they were all female teachers. One of them happened to be my, TBI. Her name is Miss Wendy.
Yes, Wendy.
Barber, because I know there's a bunch of Wendy's in this world. So I ended up at the school on February 11th, 2011, or not 2011, February 11th, 2013, 9 a.m. Eastern.
Okay, so let me backtrack a little bit to like when me and you met, because there is some really good stories of me and Chase when we first started being friends. Like we started. I remember meeting him. Like I think it was like 2 days in, wasn't it?
No, I think it was the same night in. Like
I think it was the same. We met the
in,
same night, and then like we didn't really start being cool with each other until like 2 nights in.
Yeah. Like we didn't really talk much on Sunday. Like we would just like, "Hey, how are you? I'm doing good. How about you? I'm Chase. I'm Skyler. It's nice to meet you." So 2 days in, we start talking more. This person, Celso Cruz, he kept having to put a book back together because, we decided to form a group called Skyrock Skylers. This is like back when I was 12 and he was 10. So we're just sitting over here. We're just goofing off, drumming with a pack of pencils and a book.
Tales of a fourth grade nothing.
And then we went to this animal shelter, and oh my God, I got on his nerves.
He annoyed the crap out of me.
We were just sitting there, and the whole way Celso was like, trying to separate us. Yeah, you two can't you two can't sit together. And I thought he was a staff. I was like, okay. So
we was like, "Are you a staff member?"
We were in this.
Okay, then.
Yeah. Yeah. So we finally sat there, and we were riding the bus, and we got out of the activity bus. We were in this animal shelter, and I go, "No, no, I'm a good kitty. I'm a good kitty." And Skyler kept going, "Argh."
I was just, no, you're not. No, you're not.
Saying, you're not a cat. You're not a cat. Oh, and everybody's like, Skyler, Skyler, Skyler. And then finally, I look at the person who ran the animal shelter. Went, could you put me in a cage? And just like, I'm a big little kitten, and she was tempted. I'm not gonna lie, she was tempted to do that.
Oh my gosh.
So,
some of the best memories come out of that time.
Yeah. We came back home, or back to what we call home, which was the summer camp.
Right.
And we sat down, and we came up with this, and Skyler's like, okay, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, and he did, you're not a cat, cat away, you're not a cat no more, and all of that, and I'm just singing along and drumming, and then the book falls apart.
Yeah. He kept having to put the daggone book, like, he kept having to put the Braille book, like, on that topic. I want to talk about, like, the first time I seen the library there, I was blown away. I was like, holy crap, there's so many Braille books, there's so many audio books. I was blown away. Like they would lend me like a cassette tape player, and I would take like I would read Ramona Quimby books. Ramona and Beezus, because we went and seen the movie for Ramona and Beezus back in 2010, and I was into the Ramona Quimby books, so I would fall asleep reading these books because I wasn't used to being in that place. You know, it was my first time. I was kind of nervous because I'd never done anything like that before. Was that your first or your second summer camp, Chase?
That was my first summer camp. In 2011, I was in school. Never heard about Governor Moorhead, and my dad read a letter and was like, "You're invited to this summer camp." And I was like, "How did they know me?" And then I remembered somebody from Governor Moorhead, Mr. Watts, did a interview on me back when I was younger, and looking for potential candidates. And when I met you in 2012, I mean, we were talking constantly about watches, about clocks, about players, and we used to say we're going watches over stuff, we're going players over stuff. We kept annoying people, dude. Like, we were inseparable. And, I remember when we were, we went swimming one night. This is before the pool shut down. And they, you got in with the wrong group. You thought that I was in the pool. And I remember when I jumped in, which is afterwards, and you had to sit out. I mean, I felt bad, but the staff was just dumb back then. I was like, man, this is ridiculous.
We got in. Me and Chase had a splash war. I would always do that when I was in the pool, man. I would go crazy. And we would, I'd have a splash war with everybody. Even if they didn't want to, I would have one. I didn't care back then.
Nope. I got Cassidy's hair wet at Wet and Wild. She screamed at me, and I was like,
Hooper?
Cassidy, chill out.
Cassidy
this
Hooper?
This is Wet and Wild. Yeah, Cassidy Hooper.
We only went...
Chase!
Me and Wet and Wild. I only remember going to Wet and Wild like 2 different times, and then they started going to this smaller water park.
Oh, jeez.
You remember that?
Yeah.
So
That was no good.
2013, 2014, that's about around the time we meet Michael Sands, right?
Ugh. Yes.
Yeah. He was, I mean, me and him started out being buddies. You know, we started out fine, and then, you know, I come back, like 2013 summer camp we met. And then, you know, 2014 short term, I went in February of 2014. And, you know, I was really looking forward to seeing Michael again, you know, because I met some new friends, and I would talk to him, and he'd call me up, you know, right before I was about to come, and be like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And you know, we would sit and talk for hours. So we were pretty close, and you know, like after 2014 summer camp, he was just like, "I don't like Skyler. I don't like Skyler." You know, I was into my Myler Collar stuff back then, and he just, you know, he was, you know, after that, he was just, I don't know, man. But that was around the time that, you know, like you were, at the time, you were my best friend. Like that was the one, that you were the one who I was looking forward to seeing the most. And then, you know, Michael Sands got, you know, that was when we separated a little bit, and I started getting, you know, to be friends with Jason and Shazine, and getting to know them a little bit more. What was going on in your head around that time?
The first thing I was thinking was, you know, with this whole thing, like I was thinking, you know, Michael Sands is just, oh my God, like he's just trying to separate our friendship because, you know, and I saw what this dude was. Like, you know, what you didn't see is what I saw. And what I saw was he was the type to complain on the bus. He was talking more junk than, you know, than a trailer, you know, holds in an average week.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I knew that when he started talking about how Satan was awesome,
Yeah.
and, you know, how he says he worships demons behind the doors, and, you know, how he praised the Satan while taking a shower, and all that on the bus. What, and people thought I was complaining, like I had just
Yeah.
got on the bus.
It's like people
And
thought you were
I
bad.
heard, yeah, and I heard people go, I heard him go, "I'm gonna sue. I'm calling my lawyer." And I was like, what?
They're sitting there like, what? You ain't got no lawyer.
You ain't got,
You're just
how are you supposed to sue people, dude?
yeah.
And everybody thought I was saying something, and I was like, no, I'm not saying anything. And they realized it was Michael Sands. He was trying to be friends with everybody, and eventually he turned around one day, and he, you know, eventually it was, you know, I took a brave stance because, you know, I'm not the type of person that's going to put up with drama.
Right.
So, although you were capable of handling him, which you were doing, like you were about to. I remember one day, because I have peripheral vision, and you looked like you were about to lay somebody out. You were not in the mood to, you know, fuck with anybody. You were ready to beat somebody down. So I took it upon myself to argue with Michael Sands, and you screamed at me not to get in the fray, and I was like, no, dude, this has gone on long enough, and somebody's got to say something. So eventually the house parents had to split all of us up.
I remember that, dude. I mean, I don't remember the exact situation, but I there was times, dude, where I was just like, I don't, I've never felt it before. I've never felt it again. But there was just this overwhelming, like, anger. It's like, you betrayed your friendship, dude. You would have had a really good friend in me. You know what I'm saying? But one of my questions for you, Chase, is what was it like, when you were in public school and then transitioned into GMS? How big of a change was that for you, being in an environment with more blind people?
The first thing I had to do was I had to come to the realization that I'll be around people that are just like me. I didn't really have a problem with it. I knew that I wasn't going to be at home, bring my stuff, and I knew that I had to share with, another roommate. That's not a problem and all that. I remember the first time when I transitioned, and like I was dealing with somebody that had like anger issues over there named Sammy Jones. And
I remember Sammy. He was really quiet. That's one of the ones you don't want to mess with. The quiet one's is one you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, he sat there and I've seen how one day he got mad at his mother. He picked her up and threw her across the bedroom.
Oof.
And I just stood there, and the first thing that went through my head is, okay, that's it. I'm done, And I guess my whole life, like, I hate violence, and I like to, And one day, I was running on the track. So this idiot decides, I'm going to hit Chase in the back of the head with my cane because I'm mad. And I forget what happened. All I know is I didn't pass out. The next thing I knew, I was very angry. I didn't scream. Ow, screw you. I didn't do that. I ran down the stairs and confronted him.
Oof.
I don't remember what happened next.
Did you get knocked out or something?
No, he hit me in the head to where there was a welt that formed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, head injuries can be severe in some cases.
But I lost my anger because I was shaken at 3 months old. So if somebody were to hit me in the head, shake me by the head, it triggers me. And it makes me, I will quickly respond. Like, I will not calmly tell a person, I don't like that. I show them physically that I don't like that. And like I said, it was a quick 5 seconds and I had that dude on the ground. In the gym. I had him on the ground.
Woo.
And then I screamed at him not to do that ever again. So, I knew it was him because somebody, it was like, Sammy, we don't do that. And you can forget like walking down three flights of stairs on the track. I climbed over the rail.
Woo. You climbed over
And
the
I
rail
just,
several times, dude. Like you'd get mad at the or at the staff. That one time in Mr. Duffy's class, you got mad and you told me you climbed down the stairs or climbed down the rail.
all right. There was this one time Kaylee Yarborough was acting like she was all that in a bag of chips.
Shout out to Kaylee.
She was oh, I'm gonna tell Abby that you're doing this, that you're doing that. Quit involving people in drama. And she was like, I never get my tail whooped. I'm very good. And there was some people that said, oh my God, I can't stand her. She's a goody two shoes. And I'm like, so she got up in my face one day, like we're all arguing about something in Mr. Duffy's class. Which shout out to Mr. Duffy.
Shout out Mr. Duffy, man. You
Shout out.
You made a lot of our high school years, man. For sure.
Dude, social studies was never fun until you joined.
Yeah.
But
Social study,
we were.
I remember the webinars. Like at first I hated the webinars, but then I started really getting into them, and I was like, you know what? I really enjoy doing these.
Mm-hmm. Yup. Yeah, I remember she was getting all up in my face, and I hate that. So I turned around. I said, "You need to not involve people in whatever goes on. Do you understand me?" And she said, okay. And I kept going, and I kept going, and I kept going, and I kept going. And finally, she was crying. I was so mad I flew open the door 10 seconds before the bell rang for end of dismissal. I ran so fast, knocked into my track coach, sent her flying in the opposite direction.
Ms. Von Ryan? Oh.
Yeah. I slammed into her so hard she arced over my head and landed in the opposite direction.
Ouch!
On my stomach. That's all I
That had to hurt.
And all you heard was.
Holy.
It was like a loud thud.
Man.
Like anyone could feel it.
Wow, man, so, you were just unstoppable.
I ran. I jumped over the rail. I, waited for somebody to open the door. I kept running. I jumped over the rail again, landing on both feet, running to the cottage. If somebody could clock me, I was running at 15 miles an hour, which took me about 20 seconds to get to the cottage. I was booking it.
I bet you was.
I went down to A1 Cottage, and I was so mad that I wasn't breathing the whole way there.
Oh.
When I got there, I stopped and I was just panting and sweating. And Mr. Cruz looked at me. He said, there's a blood vessel in your vein that's about to pop. You're angry, you're mad, your face is red, you look like you want to hurt somebody. What happened? And the first thing I did was I screamed out with rage, people are childish.
This was in 2019,
I
correct?
Screamed out, and then after that I just collapsed in a chair. So him and Miss Princess were talking to me, trying to calm me down. And, at the time it was worse for me because I was in a 4-month relationship with a girl that had no communication and broke up with me by saying that she didn't know how to date.
Was this Deja?
And her mother wouldn't and she wouldn't let me hold her hand.
Huh. That's weird. That's weird because her mama was always, nice towards me. Like every time I would call, she'd be like, "Hey, you want to talk to Deja?" And then she'd give me the phone, and Deja would,
Yeah, she never gave me Deja's number. She never gave me I never had contact with her for 4 months straight.
Huh.
The only time that I've have contact with her and Balin. Oh my god,
Balin?
she's bossy.
Balin.
Yeah.
Sorry, but that's just what I remember.
Yeah, it was when we were, she would sit at the table and, we never exchanged I love yous or nothing. And she told me that, she, the first thing was, I don't know how to date, and my mom and dad wouldn't want me holding hands with a boy.
Right.
I went, okay. Well,
It was a little bit different with me, though. I was going through my own anger problems at the time, and I didn't really want her getting involved in that and having to deal with repercussions from that, And then COVID hit, and that put a major strain on it because, we weren't seeing each other. And, yeah, I mean, we would talk occasionally. Like, I don't even think I have her number anymore because it was in my old phone. Like, ever since I got an iPhone, like, there's some contacts I didn't get moved over. Like Miss Princess. I need to get hers back.
Got to go through Jacob because Jacob is a ladies' man and he talks to all the girls. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Jacob Grancher. Shout out to Jacob Grancher.
Shout out, Jacob.
Shout out.
Although you talk to me for 5 or 10 minutes at a time, but still.
Yeah. Me and Jacob Grancher still talk, man. Me and Jacob Grancher still talking. Yeah, like he sent me a performance from a live band the other day.
Oh.
Yeah. Shout out Jacob Grancher. He's got me, like, shout out Mr. Jonathan. He's got me contacted with Mr. Jonathan. And shout out, man. Shout out Jacob Grancher. Shout out Mr. Jonathan. If you're watching this, if you're watching this, Mr. Jonathan, share this podcast with everybody in the school. Make them aware of this. So, Chase, as far as blind awareness, what do you have to say about that?
Don't let anyone tell you what you need. You advocate for yourself. You tell them, you need to ask for help, and don't be afraid to do it. Like, hey, I need directions to this place. Would you be able to assist me? If they try to grab your arm, you put your foot down, you reach with your free hand, and you grab the person's elbow and try to show them how to sight guide.
Right.
The one thing you don't want is to put your cane up and some sighted person who doesn't know where they're going to slam you into something and you get hurt and they get hurt.
Right.
Or they move out of the way and you get hurt and they're liable for your injury.
Also, with the grabbing, a lot of people grab blind people and, like, try to direct them where to go. And, hey, there's all kinds of people that do it. And they don't, they mean it in a nice way. They're not trying to violate by any means, but in a way it is. Because, we have our own way of navigation. And, like, if you want to do that, just say, hey, grab my elbow, and I'll lead you to where your seat is. Or, I'll lead you to where you want to go. if and also ask if we need help. You know,
Yeah.
like what was COVID times like for you, dude?
It sucked. I remember in 2020 when we all left that school, I did my assignments quickly. There were some times where I didn't get on music. I wasn't skipping class because I've never skipped a class assignment in centuries. It's just,
Right.
I didn't really feel like getting on, doing nothing.
Same.
Um,
It's hard to
yeah,
get motivated when when you're at your house and you're kicked back and
yeah, it's
it's harder
absolutely
to get in
terrible.
that zone. Go ahead.
So
So yeah, what do you do you remember like when we found out that they were gonna do it virtually, and what
yeah,
me and you were
we
planning?
were doing. We've done campaigns before, people. We have
Yeah,
been undefeated. We have been 4-0, and we were beaten. We were severely outdone. I think it. What did I say? It was 107-4 when we got beat.
yeah,
That we were outdone.
yeah.
So
Because it had been put out like it was the only way.
what's up?
I got a little ramekin into this stuff. See if it's any good.
Okay.
So
It's on the table. I'm sorry.
All right. Thanks. Yeah.
so whenever COVID hit, me and you like or no, before, take that back. Whenever they were doing the horse show at GMS.
What do you think?
It's good.
Need anything?
No, it's perfect like it was before.
Oh, okay.
So
Anyway.
back back when they were doing the horse show, right?
Mhm.
And
Masters play, yeah, at 4 o'clock.
okay,
425. Keep going, Skyler. What's up?
okay. I didn't know if what if your dad needed anything. But anyway, whenever they did the horse show, and me, you, Shazan, and Margaret campaigned against it. Like we didn't even have to take that to the board. You remember?
Mhm.
We didn't even have to take that to the board because you know it was like we were so they were so outdone by like how many people were saying they did not like the horse show,
It's all right.
Yeah, it's good.
and the house parents basically were like trying to get us to enjoy it, and it's like we couldn't see the horses. How are we gonna have fun just watching horses walk and run? And we didn't get to go up and see them, and
All right, you have my undivided attention. I had to test out chicken chili real quick.
that's all good. So you remember when they did the horse show?
Oh my god, that was first of all, we couldn't see them.
Yeah.
We could just hear them. And nobody was announcing anything. So like, what?
Right.
Like, are you serious? Like, nobody announces what's going on, but yet we're going to a cited event. I mean, can we
Right.
have like headset, please? Like, what's missing? Hello, people.
Yeah. So we got in
campaigned against it.
we had every cottage doing it, dude. It was so successful. I remember like I had somebody from every cottage. I think were you in A2 at the time? No, I think you were still in A1. Yeah, you were still in A1.
We were all in A1.
Okay, so A1, and then I had to get somebody from A2 to do it. And then the B cottages, I got them, I had some friends in there, so I was like, all right, here's what we're going to do. And then I explained it to them, and then they took it. Shout out Dylan McCleary. Yeah, shout out Dylan. So,
there you go, Dylan.
We took it to every cottage, and I had Margaret do it for their cottage. And I had, oh gosh, I forget. It's been so daggone long, bro. It's been so long. But we had every cottage doing it, and we won. We didn't even have to take that to the board.
Nope, that was our first victory. I'm trying to remember what our other three were.
One of them was having so many activities that we couldn't do our homework.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you remember at the time, like people, the staff would, if you weren't doing your work right, you would get emails from
silent lunch.
Yeah, you would get the staff at the school would email your house parents and say, hey, blah 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 isn't doing his homework or doing it right or something like that, or making, and it at the end of the day, it was the amount of activities they were putting in every day, and they were making us do it. And I was like, I'm fine with having activities, and then it got to where like we weren't doing anything at all, and I was like, I didn't mean not have no activities. I meant like, give us enough time during the week to where we can do our homework and get it in. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they gave me crap about that one. Like I was PO'd because I was making decent grades at the time, and they were making me go to the learning center, and I was like, dude, I'm doing my homework. I wanted to graduate, dagnabbit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like, do you remember they would call me out several times in cottage meetings because of it?
They called everybody out.
They called everybody out. They got to where they just...
I was like, dude, like I was thinking in the back of my head, like, dude, just shut the hell up. Come on.
I mean,
like,
it's okay whenever you get them privately, and be like, hey, that's the way Miss Allison used to do whenever we started. If they really needed to tell us something behavior-wise, that, they took us in the back office. They didn't do it in front of everybody. And then when Mr. Cruz started, Mr. Cruz is a good house parent. Shout out to Mr. Cruz if you're listening to this. Big shout out.
Big shout out, dude.
Yeah, he was good. He had his moments, but everybody does. Let's just be honest here.
Oh yeah, my ex, Briante was talking a lot about him.
Who, Mr. Cruz?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did she know him from somewhere? How
they would have private meetings and how they met at schools, and he's always said that she was the favorite student out of the South Carolina school that he was at.
Also, he was at a South Carolina school.
Yeah, it was a school in South Carolina or
Oh.
somewhere. I forget what she said.
Oh, okay.
I don't think there's a South Carolina school for the blind, but if there is, I've never heard of them.
I don't think I've heard any of them. Well, Hadley Institute. I don't think that's in South Carolina. But yeah, man, that was for us. That was a big time. You know, right leading up to COVID. Like I remember whenever they had us in there for the last day, dude. Do you? Like when they had us in the auditorium?
Oh my God! During graduation?
Yeah, not
I mean,
when they sent us home.
all right. I knew something was up.
We all did, dude. We fit like they never let us on our phones, and they was like, just get on your phone, do whatever. You can watch a movie. We got one up. Either that, or you could get on your phones. Whatever you want to do, just do it.
I took a guess. I was like, "Yep, we're going home." And the reason why I said we were going home, everybody made a joke about it. Everybody heard about COVID-19,
Right.
and I knew that. I heard that from somebody. Governor Roy Cooper was shutting all schools down, including Governor Moorhead, and I told everyone. I said, "Hey, man, the school's gonna shut down," and everyone was like. And Miss Shawnee finally said, "Don't believe Chase. Everybody don't believe Chase. We're still going back to school. We're still coming back to school." And Sunday at 3 p.m., my dad gets a call. And guess what? We never went back to school. The first thing I thought, what's up?
Go ahead.
I said the first thing I thought was, see, I told you. But yeah.
Yeah, man. Whenever I got the call, it was we were gonna go back May 17th, and then like we get closer to May, and then we're not going back. That was a bit like that was a punch in the gut at the time. Like we didn't even realize it until the virtual graduation started kicking in. And at the time, I was angry about everything, and I mean, I still don't agree with just the virtual graduation. I think we could have waited till probably about 2022 to do it, and that would have been fine, at least for me. But I'm not real angry about it anymore because it's in the past.
True.
Okay, so if I may ask on the podcast, what was being out on your own like? Because I know you've had that experience. This is if you want to get on. If you want to get into this, if you don't, that's fine.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Being out on my own, it's not scary to me. It's not because I've always wanted to live independently, but I did not want to spend 2 months in a homeless shelter. And I was with, an ex at the time by the name of Briante. She ruined my life in so many ways. And first thing, she said, "Oh, I'm so pretty. I'm so cute. I have very soft and silky skin and this, that, and the other."
Okay.
You know, one day I got into an argument with my father, and he told me that I had till December 1st to leave. So I called her up. I said, I was told that I had till a certain day to leave. And I said, if you love me like you say you do, and if you care about me like you say you do, and this, that, and the other, I need somewhere to go. So she said, well, let's start you off in a hotel. I'm thinking at this point, you live with your mother. Can you pull some strings? And, you know, I asked that, and she goes, my mom don't want any other man of mine at the house. And I was like, but you complain about how your mother has about 2 to 3 men in her bed a night.
Okay.
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 But I went to the homeless shelter after 2 nights. I stayed there for 2 months. I took Uber and Lyft to different apartments trying to get one. I called Echo Housing. I went to the store by myself. I went to Walmart. I went to Target. I went to Starbucks. I went and sat down and ate at a McDonald's. Went and got my hair cut by myself. I did a bunch of things by myself that I loved. I would always stop at Dollar General. I used to go to vape stores and, you know, buy a bunch of vapes and just smoke them.
Oof.
Buy cigarettes. People handed me cigars and a lighter, and, you know, I used to sit there and, you know, play with them. Never did anything to hurt myself, evidently. But I've had people that threaten to jack me up, and, you know,
Ouch.
what caused me to leave was Briante called me one day and threatened to kill me and everyone in the homeless shelter. And I was in the middle of class, and I decided to get out of that situation, and their class version was, you know, talking about alcoholics and how you shouldn't drink. No offense, but the more they talked about alcohol, the more I wanted to experience the feeling of being drunk. And I'm not kidding you, dude. I'm like,
It's not that. You know. At least in my opinion, it's not. It's not what people make it. You know. I never got into it.
no, I've never gotten into it either. I never got drunk. One of my dad's ex-girlfriends behind my dad's back gave me alcohol. And, you know, she'd give me, like, at one point, years and years ago, I bought a 12-pack of beer. And I think it was Bud Light. And then another time, she gave me, you know, she had me try wine, vodka, Kahlua, different stuff.
Vodka.
Yep. And then we went for a little bit of the strong stuff. I forget what it was called.
Whiskey or something.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And this is when I was this is when me and, you know, Briante broke up, and I was at her house until May 1st, and then I came back home for full time to put up with my obnoxious brother, which he's a punk.
A punk.
Yeah, remember real quick, kind of like backtracking. Remember, I had an
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're going to talk about.
I had an incognito, and my friend Skyler over here decided it was funny. He was sitting there like texting. He's like, I called your brother a miler, Kyler. I was like, yo. My dad called the staff, and I got my phone taken away, but it was worth it. Of course, I got it back. And then another time,
No.
Oh my god, my dad got mad at Jody once because him and I switched watches because he needed to get one of his watches fixed. He had my radio-controlled atomic talking watch, which, for those who don't know what that is, it synchronizes with the U.S. atomic clock.
Colorado.
Near Fort Collins, near Colorado. But, not she, but
Jody.
He got mad, was like, yeah, what happened? What the hell happened? And I was like, and of course Jody told me to say it. And I was like, I got this watch from Aids and Appliances, and he almost called Aids and Appliances. I was like, no, wait, Jody and I did a switch off. Before I could tell him I lied, which I never did, lie about that, he was on the phone with the staff. Jody hated me after that. So.
Yeah, me and you, I remember seeing my first atomic watch back in the day, man. Back when, like, in 2012, that was an eye-opening experience because all I'd had before was these, these talking watches, the ones that were robot, or no, they weren't robotic, but you know what I mean, like. Oh gosh.
It's 2:27 a.m.
No, it would be more like 3:00 p.m. we used to sit and imitate the voices.
We did, man. We would get on the swings and we would go players and watches over. We would always say it. Dude, we have like so many good memories.
So many good memories. Like, I remember the RCA talking clock. That blew my friggin' mind wide open. Wide open,
my
dude.
My pathetic sister threw that clock away. Because number one, she thought, well, the battery compartment's busted up. This won't work, so I'm throwing this away. And I tried to find another good one, and hell, it's on my YouTube channel. I'm getting mad, and I'm just beating this thing senseless because I bought another one, and either somebody squirted water inside of it, and I'm not being disgusting. Either somebody jacked it up with a sprinkler, or it was sitting in a shed with high humidity, which, well, it can break the clock. Dummies.
Right.
I got it from eBay.
Yeah, eBay's kind of.
They don't carry it.
eBay's kind of known for kind of stuff like that.
Yup. It was an RCA RC50 voice activated talking alarm clock radio.
Do you have or is there any videos of it on YouTube?
Videos of the clock?
Yeah.
There was a video of somebody, I think it's Ethan and Edward. They did a video of it, and when he did a video of it, it was sounding clear, and I found that one. That was the only video I found.
Ooh.
And
Is it
I
still up
did a
there?
YouTube video of them. Yeah, it should still be up. It was done years ago, like several years ago.
You
And
said
I
you
don't
did a
know why
video?
they discontinued it. But now they have like these Moshis. You barely see the Hello Ivies anymore. You know?
Yeah. The RC8, man, that I remember seeing that, dude, and you blew my mind with that one because, like, you would say, "Wake up, sleepyhead." You had to say it. You had to say it with an accent. I remember that because I was always, "Wake up, sleepyhead." I was
And
always
it's that.
Southern with
I
it,
remember one
so you had to
time.
wake up,
Yeah,
sleepyhead.
we yeah you we were roommates at one point, and we were listening to an audiobook, and it went, "What can I do for you?" And I was like, "What the heck?"
Yeah, it would go. It would go off. If it, yeah. I mean, it had a bunch of. It had a crazy. It was just. I loved checking it out and, you know, feeling like, because it had the digital thing on it, where you could read the numbers and they were really big. So, and it also talked, and that blew my mind, bro.
Yeah, I tried finding Moshi, and I bought one at magnifying aids. It was $70. For $70, no wonder why it's 3.9 stars out of 5. I'm just saying, because when I got that thing, I swear I've never set it to go off at 5:30 p.m. And I've even turned off voice trigger mode. Um, and I guess it had I had three AAA batteries in it,
Uh huh.
and either they were going dead or the thing was possessed, but it kept turning on at 5:30 p.m. and I was like, "What?" So I just got mad and I snapped it.
You know what that kind of reminds me of? That's really freaking weird, dude. Because you know what that reminds me of? That possessed clock from 1408.
Oh Jesus!
You haven't seen that movie? It's a good movie. You ought to check it out.
Nope.
It's a good movie. 1408, and like, yeah, man. So I remember seeing the first atomic watch. You had the atomic watch and the clock, and it both had the same voice on it. Like, you had the fixed set, you know?
Yep. My aunt got me those.
That
Shout
was
out to
really
my
cool.
aunt.
Shout out to your aunt. Shout out to
Yes.
your aunt.
She got me those. My first experience with that was I got it, and I had set the time zone to U.S. I believe I set it to USA Eastern, and it put the hands were spinning, so I was messing around with it, and the first thing my dad thought was, "Oh my God, you broke your watch." And I was like, "No, it's setting to the time." And sure enough, it was. And it kept saying USA time not updated. And then the next day, that same day, it finally said USA time updated. I never knew what, these atomic talking things were. Like, that was my first atomic talking product.
Right.
And
I know when you
he's reading it. Yeah.
I remember when I got my first atomic talking watch and the hands kept doing that. I was like, yeah, what's going on? And then I realized what it was doing, and then like it would update at like 4 something in the morning, or sometimes 5, 6. You had to have it setting on like a solid surface, though.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Skyler. Speaking of watches, I'm getting an atomic talking smartwatch tomorrow.
Oh,
and
yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah, it's by 5 senses, and it's supposed to, instead of updating by the atomic talking clock in Colorado, it's supposed to update by your phone. So
yeah,
you don't have to update it anymore. You synchronize it with your phone now.
I kind of like the Colorado clock better, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, I like that idea, but I don't know, man. There's something magical about watching, like, about, experiencing that for the first time. And I think not a lot of blind people that's growing up in this generation are gonna really know about stuff like that. I mean, they might get stuff handed down from them generation to generation, but this is the cool stuff about being blind. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And like reading Braille, it's all just what makes us different, but somehow but the same as everybody else, but different in the way we communicate and the way we do things. And that's just the beauty of being blind, is getting to experience all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this series is about. Not just drawing awareness to the shady crap that goes on behind the government side of it, but also to talk about just what makes us different and what makes us interesting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So me and Chase, we go back and we could sit and talk all day about stuff, because
yes, we can.
We got so many memories.
We've been there through thick and thin for each other. Despite
We've had our ups and downs.
We did, and now that we've gotten back on the right track since February 23rd of this year.
I think it was March. I think it was March, dude.
No, it was February 23rd, because February, when my ex had threatened my life.
Oh, yeah, it might have been.
I called you standing outside. Of course, you had me blocked still, so I called you through no caller ID. Reached you that way.
Oh man, I'm so glad I answered the phone, man. I'm so glad, because I was about to go to my papa's sister's. Shout out Gaynell. I was getting ready to go there, and with Papa, and I picked up the phone, and you had apologized for everything that was going on, and blah blah blah, and I was more worried than I was mad. So of course.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I answered the phone, man. And now we're here.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
We're doing a podcast together.
I was all jazzed up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. For sure.
Shout out to Carson for helping you with the podcast.
Yeah, shout out Carson. Shout out, my man. Shout out Seth to Death. Shout out, man.
Yep.
So, Chase, is there anything you want to tell the audience before we wrap it up?
Don't forget to share this with people you know, and it's okay for people to be different. They're unique in their own ways. And just remember that every day you feel like failing or you feel like you're a failure, just realize you're not, because people have it worse, you know?
Right.
And I'm just grateful to have people that I can call my friends and a, successful life, including a successful relationship of my own. And I'm also thankful that I'm here to live another day. And besides me working out 5 days a week, I also like to do YouTube videos. So don't forget to check out my content. I have different varieties, and just y'all stay safe and take care.
I'll send Carson your YouTube link, and then he can put it in the link tree for people to check out.
All right.
Yeah. That's how we do that around here. We promote people that promote us.
Yup.
We subscribe to anybody that subscribes to us. We subscribe back. So, yeah.
Shout out to Wholehearted Entertainment and the Skyler Jarvis Media Show. Shout out.
Shout out Wholehearted Entertainment for making this all possible. Yeah.
Yep.
So, without further ado, this is Skyler Jarvis and Chase Shepard signing off. Peace!
Ladies and gentlemen, Skyler has left the building. Hey, bro, don't you want to say anything?